comment, you can throw it in the chat, like below the video, and I'll make sure that Neil and Heather hear it.
Fabulous. Okay, all right, brilliant. Yeah, good. Thank you. Thank you, Gretchen.
Thank you.
Right, so should we crack on? Should we get going? Because we're all excited.
Yes, why not?
We've just, well, we were just talking, those of you who were listening, I've just driven 3 hours to get to my daughter's house. So we're going to go out for dinner tonight because it's her birthday. Heather and I have asked you guys for questions, and I think there's quite a few questions. I think there's an email from Owen. You've been a very busy boy. You've sent us quite a lot of questions. There's a hell of a lot of questions there to answer. So we're going to try and answer as many as we can, as well as do a little bit of education for you. And then we're going to tell you all about what's going on and how we can help you going forward, and the more stuff that we can do for you and help you and protect you more than anything else. Because I want to tell you a story about something that happened this morning. And it was literally this morning. Heather and I have a coaching lady over in Sweden, and she sent me a WhatsApp message, because what we do when we get our coaching clients is we give them access to us personally. So they had my WhatsApp, my mobile phone number. She sent me a WhatsApp message this morning, and she said, Neil, I've just had this deal come in from a sourcing agent. Can you have a look at it? Because they've told me that I've got to give them an answer within an hour. Now, the property that they sent through to me, I had a quick look at the property, and it was up in Glasgow. So I quickly texted Heather and asked her if she could have a quick look through it as well. And but while I was looking at it, I found a few points, and I did a little bit of research, and I found that this sourcing agent, they were calling themselves sourcing agent, and this really gets me angry. So if I get a bit excited, I'm sorry. But this sourcing agent was offering them a property at £52,500. And they were saying non-negotiable, £52,500. The sourcing agent was charging them a fee on top of that of £3,500. So that was going to be that takes it up to £56,000. There was a little bit about what it was going to cost to do the property up, and the sourcing fee, and the solicitors fees and those kind of things. But I went and had a quick search, and I found the property, exactly the same pictures, exactly the same property on the internet. And I looked at that property, and on the internet, it was on the market for £54,000. Offers on near or above £54,000. So just doing the maths, if you went with this sourcing agent, you bought the property for £52,500, you paid them £3,500, you spent £56,000 on this property that you can get straight from the internet for flipping £54,000. I was quite angry.
You were angry. You were angry.
I phoned up Heather and I said, there was a few bleeps, and I said, Heather, what's going on here? Go and have a look, see what's going on. And unfortunately, this sourcing agent was putting pressure on her to buy it. They were putting this pressure on, saying, if you don't, these deals are going to go quickly. You've got to make a decision. We'll call you in an hour. So she was obviously texting me, Neil, what do I do? What do I do? And I said to her, right, okay, we looked at the property, looked at the figures. I said, you're going to leave far too much money in this property. If we do it, it's going to cost you more. You're going to lose somewhere in the region of £20,000 on this property. And I said, if you do this deal, it's £20,000 you're going to be worse off. You cannot do this deal. So I told her to go back to them and say, we will only buy this property if you can get it for £45,000. Now, for me, that's what a sourcing agent should be doing. A sourcing agent should be getting a deal much, much, much less than you and I can get just by, well, not me, but everyday people can get online. So they went back and they came back with some rubbish about, oh, well, that's the price. We can't get it any lower than that. Take it, not take it or leave it. But they were trying to negotiate with her to tell her to take it. And I said, no, you walk away from that property. That's why you're being coached by me and Heather, so that we protect you from these idiots that are out there that are going to rip you off and call themselves sourcing agents and do this crap. I'm sorry. Okay, so that's a little bit of my rant for today, but I was really, as you can tell, I was really angry at these people, and they say they've been on various training courses and they've learned how to do it properly, but Heather and I have taught and coached people to be good sourcing agents. And there are certain things and qualifications you have to take. You have to have certain certifications. You have to have insurance in place. And above all, you can only offer properties out as a sourcing agent, the ones that you would buy yourself. And you just probably can't at the moment because of your financial circumstances. So anyway, that's my rant.
You know what, Neil? But you were right. You were 100% right. Because my location was in Scotland, and they phoned me, and he went on a rant. He was on a rant. And I said, right, let's calm it down. Let's have a look. Number one mistake, if I can find it on Rightmove, a cheaper price, I don't want to spend time doing any due diligence. Because that's the first mistake. You should be getting a deal through a sourcing agent that is not live on the internet. That's the whole secret of getting off-plan or off-market deals. So, yeah, after Neil went off in his rant, the student was pretty happy because we were absolutely honest. We could have said, yeah, just go with it, buy it, and we'll pick up your pieces. But we says, no, that's not our policy. It's not loyal.
No. No, and the big thing is that our student we have, obviously, when you guys are probably the same, you're really keen to get going, you really want to get that property, and you were kind of, sometimes you make mistakes because you're so excited and you're so keen, or maybe you've told your family you're doing this and this, and have you bought that property yet? You're not doing very good, are you? You've been doing this for 3 months. And so you're kind of pushing it to get that deal, and you would make mistakes by buying something that is just not right. That's why we're here, and that's why we're there to protect you. And I know Heather said about it should be off market, but I also see people getting deals that are on market, but they've just negotiated a massive discounts. So if it's on market, like the 53 or whatever it was, 52, but they've got it for 45, then that's a good discount. And I don't mind paying a sourcing agent that kind of money and a £3,500 fee, because they've got it much better than perhaps I could. Well, they can't. I could probably get it cheaper, but there you go. But I would just, I would be happily paying that. And so wherever the deal comes from, whether it's offline, online, mate down the pub, whatever, it's got to be a deal that you would buy and you've negotiated well for. So anyway, that was my my morning backwards and forwards with this lady, and luckily we stopped her from making that silly mistake and losing her. Well, she listened to us. That's why we're there. She said, okay, Neil, I said, the next deal will come along. We will find the next deal. Yeah. Now, on a better note, a slightly better note, one of the things in UK at the moment you guys are seeing is the prices of properties. And my son, who again today, there's a lot happened today. I went round to see him at lunchtime, and he's just had his, those of you who understand leases, he's just had his lease renewed on his flat. And so he's got a 125-year lease with a view to now being able to sell his flat, because the lease was very low, and so the price was going to be low. So we've got the lease renewed for him. He's got his 125 years, and he wants to sell it because he wants to move into, this is for his own personal place to live, into his own home with his girlfriend. So he wants to sell the flat, although I'm trying really hard to convince him to try and remortgage it and keep it and rent it, but he needs the equity out of it. So I went round for lunch, and he'd invited an agent round to come and do a valuation for him. So I'm sat in the living room with them. I'd actually bought pizza. I went to Pizza Hut and got some pizzas delivered. So we're sitting, and this agent's coming, and his girlfriend saying, well, we shouldn't have pizzas out when the agent's coming around. I said, I knew the agent anyway. And she came in, and we sat down and we had a chat with her. And they were very apprehensive because they didn't know. They've never sold a property before. They've never, buying this one was one actually they only bought because I was going to buy it. And they jumped in and took it because I got a deal. And they weren't sure what they're going to get. And so the agent, bless her, she sat down and she went through all the different options for them and how they're going to sell it. And she gave them a price that was £20,000 more than they were hoping for. And I sat there and I said to her, so why, her name's Michelle. I said, Michelle, why is it so much higher than we were expecting? And she said, right now, you could write whatever you want on this ticket for this type of property. She said, Neil, obviously you know what you're doing. You've bought right. He's put his stamp on it. We've done a new bathroom, new kitchen and everything else. She goes, but you obviously knew what you were doing. I know you do. You always buy properties from me. She says, and as a result, you're looking at £20,000 more than perhaps you would have got if you didn't buy it right. So they were over the moon. They're chuffed to bits. They got a second agent into value. I was driving on the way here, phoned me, said they've given them about the same sort of valuation. They just need to choose which agent to go with now. Also, while we were there, I like to pick agents' brains while we're there, and we use our contacts. One of the things Heather and I teach you is we learn how to make friends of the agents. We learn how to work with them and make them like us, like them and trust us. Because all the way through this conversation, Michelle kept saying to him, I can get you a solicitor, but your dad can get it cheaper than me, so you might as well use your dad. Her and I have got a good relationship anyway. And all the way through this, she was chatting away, and she said to me, she goes, I said, what's happening there, Michelle? What's happening in the market? What's new? Have you got any more deals for me? And she said, you know what? the local council came to me this week, and they asked to view 10 of our properties that we've got on the market. And she said, everybody else in the office said, oh no, not the council. They're a nightmare to deal with. They're awkward. They're always slow. They're always trying to knock us down on price. So she said, look, I'll deal with them. I've dealt with them before, no problem at all. And of course, agents work on commission. So she gets a basis and then she gets commission for every property she sells. She showed the local council around these 10 properties and they bought all 10. And they didn't negotiate. They maybe knocked £5,000 off the asking price. And that was it. And I said to her, oh, that's interesting. Is that because I've heard, and Heather and I have heard, we teach social housing, that with what's happening now, COVID, at the end of this month, everybody's losing jobs. The furlough system that we've got over here is going. So people are going to start losing their jobs, and the councils are gearing up for it. They are screaming out for properties right now to put people into. So those 10 properties aren't going to be enough. So if I was your coach, Heather was your coach, what would we be saying? Go and buy some of those properties because you can get £20,000 more, and we'd help you do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would tell you work with social housing as well. Tell them how to get longer term deals as well, 5 and 10 year contracts with them. It's been part of my strategy for the past 10 years now, maybe a little bit more. So yeah, there is a big demand in the whole of the UK just now for rented properties. There's big opportunities.
Fabulous. So we said we were going to do questions. I know we talked a little bit about sourcing agents there and really bad sourcing agents, but there are good ones out there, and we've trained good ones, and we know the good ones are the ones that have done it right. We've taught them right. They've got all the qualifications. They've got all the certifications. But we've got how many questions, Gretchen? About 20, 30 questions, something like that?
Yeah, pages.
Oh gosh, I was muted. Literally, I think it was 30 some questions that everybody submitted. So
Bring it on.
there are really quite a lot of them. Nikki, I know you have some. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go? I think you have enough.
Yeah. Okay, so someone's been asking about auctions. So we've been looking at property and auctions. Obviously, that's one of the easier ways to be doing it, especially online at the moment. What are the procedures and what can go wrong?
Cool.
Okay.
Buying a property from auction.
Heather?
Right, I phoned an auction house yesterday for one of my clients, and it was in the Birmingham area, and it was on at £26,000. And I says, let's find out how much the premium is for that property. And it was another £6,000 just for the premium.
Yes, yeah, that's that modern auction rubbish, isn't it?
That was at the auctions. That's before we even look at the property. They were looking for £6,000 just to go into it. So it's the cost you have to put into it as well. It's the hidden cost that you have to find out. The client I was dealing with yesterday, it was her location. She just wanted a little bit of new information on it. And I said, stop. Send them an email or give them a phone just now and just ask that one question. So that blew our deal right out the window.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's, you know, those are the kind of things that can trip you up if you don't know what you're doing. Go into auctions also, you can get very excited. I know we haven't been able to go to any for the last 6 months, but when you go in your auctions, I always tell my students, we work out what price you're going to pay for it, and then you sit on your hands. You don't put your hand up unless you are in your budget. And as soon as it goes past your budget, you sit on your hands, or I'll come and I'll sit on your flipping hands, because you don't put your hand up for price is going to put yourself into trouble.
And you don't buy without seeing.
Yeah, I had a mentorship recently up in Leeds in Yorkshire, and I did it. It was a mother and a son, and they, like I said earlier, this lady it was itching to buy a property. Her son had been sort of dilly-dallying, thinking about buying property. Shall I do it? Shan't I do it? Then he took me on as his coach, and we went to an auction and actually did a mentorship there as well. And there was these really cheap properties coming up, really cheap properties. Now they hadn't seen any of them, hadn't seen any of the properties, and most of them sold. And he got to one, and an auctioneer went, "Anybody give me £23,000 for this 2-bedroom terraced house?" Nobody was bidding. The mother was going, "It's only £23,000. Come on, son, bid for it." And I put his hand down and says, "You're not bidding on anything you haven't seen. First of all, you're not bidding for something you haven't seen because you do not know the condition of that property." So what we did do, and one of the things you can do in auction, is I said, right, let's go to the agents on the side. The property didn't sell at auction. I said, is it available for us to go and see it? Can we go and see it now? They phoned a few people up. The local estate agent said, yeah, you can come now. So we went and look at it now. and he bought it for £25,000. It valued up at over 55. Now, it was a great deal, and it would have been a great deal if she bought it, but if she bought it and it wasn't, one of the things we found is the street across the road from there, just the other street, was really, really rough. If they bought it in that area, they would never have been able to rent it. They'd have spent £23,000 and got a cheap house, but never rented it, never been able to do anything with it. So again, one of the things we keep saying to you, we keep banging home to you, is you need somebody to support you, you need someone who knows what they're doing, you need someone there to just to check over things for you, if nothing else, to say, let me just check those figures for you. You know, again, this sourcing agent, sorry, they got me going, but this sourcing agent, on his document, he had technically wrong writing on it. He said on there it was a leasehold property. They don't do leaseholds in Scotland. So, I'm sorry. So,
it's the biggest asset. It's the biggest asset you're ever going to purchase in your life, but it's the smallest amount of fees for your coaching and mentoring.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we see it, and we've seen it, Heather and I've seen it with our mentors and coaches when we've gone through, and I still have a mentor for certain things that I need right now. They saved me money. They stopped me from making silly mistakes. And the money you pay for the coaching that we do, you know, the £5,000 we do on our coaching program, you will get that back in your first deal or your second deal. If you're learning to source and we teach you how to source, you need to source 2 properties and you've got your money back. 2 properties? Could you do 2 properties? How quick are you going to do 2 properties? With us on board, I'd say you do 2 properties in 3 months. Easily. Anyway, more questions, sorry.
Someone's been having a good conversation chat with mortgage brokers. Sadly, they had no idea about how to use other people's money or the use of bridging loans for deposits. She told me the lenders will not accept that sort of arrangement and fell only just short of saying it was not legal.
Yeah, right. Do not tell mortgage brokers you are using other people's money or credit card money or any money from any other source for your deposit, because mortgage brokers have to disclose everything to the lender. When they're applying for a mortgage for you, and if you've told them something, they have to disclose it legally. What we have in place is we have a very clever guy who owns a mortgage brokerage. We talk through the strategy with him, and we will tell him, this is what we're doing, this is what they're going to do, this is where the money's coming from. We can tell him everything, because then what he does is he then says to him, okay, you can use one of my brokers, you can use Nicola, she will do the brokerage for you, but we won't tell her all the stuff you just told me. We will just tell her what she needs to tell the mortgage company, because the mortgage company will ask questions, and a great mortgage broker will only answer the questions that they need to answer. They don't give them any more information. I nearly lost a deal because I told a broker exactly the same as whoever this lady is that asked the question. I told him this, and luckily the broker turned around to me and said, Neil, that document you sent me about the bridging loan you were getting for a deposit, that was for a previous property, wasn't it? It wasn't for this one, was it? And I went, no, you're right, that's right. And I'm going, oh my God. So I nearly lost it. So remember, what we do is, we will teach you all of this kind of stuff, and things you have to be, the legal requirements of a broker are to, if the broker that's working for you on your product, they have to disclose everything to the lender. Okay. Next one.
I've got another good one. Before putting an offer in on a potential investment, how do you validate or make a damn good guess at your cost estimates, especially if your power team is not available to physically view the property, obviously, at the moment? Do you have a magic way?
I'll let Heather answer that one.
That's absolutely fine. Now we're quite fortunate now, because now we've got cameras in all our phones or videos. So what I do now is I go through with any of my clients and say, let's video everything. Okay, so it might be the wallpaper, it might be the windows, it might be the flooring, every video, and then I send that over to my power team and say, going to give me an estimate. Now, if it was Neil and I getting into the property, I know what it's going to cost. I've got a good idea to the nearest £1,000 what it will cost for the renovation, but I won't get it key, because you never know everything. So I always back it up with sending a video over and saying, can you give me a rough price of what you think this would be, and would you go and view the property at your convenience this week, but my offer's got to be on the desk at the lawyers by Friday of next week. So I've bought time for about a week. but I've already got them started because I've already sent them over a recording of the property. So that's one of the quickest and easiest way, and it's more accurate to do it that way.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. And that's where our experience comes into it, isn't it, Heather? We've got 30 years of experience behind us. We've been buying properties. My first property was such a long time ago now, that we have experience of what's going to cost you what, and very, very quickly we can help you within a few £1,000s, say, well, that's what it's going to cost, but we will get a builder in to confirm that later. But there's ways of working with builders as well. We don't get a builder to come and look at every single property we're viewing, because there's no guarantee we're buying those properties, and the builders very quickly will get fed up and they won't want to walk around 10 properties with you, give you 10 quotes, and you don't get any of them. They'll just get very fed up very quickly. Okay, Nikki, go on then, next one.
You mentioned earlier this week being able to buy properties if you had a sort of a poor credit score or sort of very little money. What is the best option to do this, and where can we go wrong?
Wow, okay, so yeah, we touched on quite a few ways of doing it with your credit file being poor and with other people's money, that kind of thing. Unfortunately, that's quite a broad brush question. I can't answer that question without knowing that person's circumstances. Heather and I are not financial advisors, but what we do is we will tell you how we would do it, and then we will put you in touch with the right people to make sure you've got that. Those people are people we like, know and trust, and we've worked with for years, and we will be very closely interactive, make sure they give you the right information or listen to what information they're coming back to you. Then we will come back and work on those different scenarios with you. So we talked about angel money, we talked about bridging money, we talked about money on credit cards, all these kind of things. So we always look at we always want the cheapest version of the money anyway, because we want to, mortgages at the moment are one of the cheapest ways to buy properties right now, because the interest rates are down. I got one going through at the moment at, I think, 3.01% or something. But, then we start looking at what your next levels of borrowing are, and we're trying to get it as cheap as we possibly can. And everybody's different. I can't give you a broad brush, whoever that question was, saying, do this, do that, do this. But we would sit down with you, we would go through it all with you. Very, very, one of the things Heather and I do very early on in the coaching program is we spend a good 2 hours with you, understanding your circumstances, your situation. Because there's no point of us saying to you, do you know what, go down to London, go buy yourself a house. You'll be no problem at all, because in London, flip the problem, no problem at all. You'll make £20,000, £30,000 when you've only got £10 in the bank and you've got nowhere else to get the money from. So Heather and I will sit down with you and say, right, well, what's the best strategy for you? What's the best place to go? How's it going to work? And then on your personal circumstances, put you in touch with the right people to check you can get that money. Okay.
Okay. A lot of people are asking about sort of, investors, bringing other people on board to help with the finances in terms of angels and things. Are there sort of any particular questions you would ask them before they invested with you, or likewise, what might they ask you?
So people asking us about why they would invest with us? Am I getting that right?
Yeah, not you, but as in on a deal.
Okay, so there again, Heather and I, we talked about area research on one of the courses. You need to know your area. You really need to know everything about your area, because if I go to you, Nikki, and say, Nikki, that £100,000 you've got in the bank that you want to put into investment with me, and you want to work with me as your joint venture or as your angel partner, I think you should go and put that money in I don't know, Scotland. And you're going to say, why? And I'm going to say, well, I've just heard it's a good place, I heard it on the news the other day. Well, that's not going to make you very confident, is it? You're not going to go, yeah, all right, I'm really confident in giving you my £100,000, Neil. But if I turn around to you and say, do you know what? Glasgow's got a massive amount of infrastructure going on. The government are putting money into they're improving the rail links. They're improving these three massive manufacturers are building factories in the area, and they're going to employ loads of workers. There is a new airport getting put in down the road from Glasgow. You're going to go, wow, this guy knows all about the area. He's really researched it. And then you're going to feel a lot more confident. And we also create a document to show you that and help you with that, so you can produce that to them as well. So again, you need to know this stuff, and you need to know this stuff inside out, because then that person will have confidence with you.
That person will always have confidence in you as well. And most of the documents that my students give out, and Day4 students give out, we always say, we are giving permission for you to say that you're working with us and check us out, because then they understand you're not doing it on your own, you're not an amateur at the end of the day, you're now working with a professional team. It's here to help and support you, and that gives a lot of credit to you asking anyone for funds as well.
That's a great point, Heather, isn't it? How many times we hear people go and do something with somebody and they never check them out. They just thought they were okay because they talked a good talk or whatever. But we will give, you know, we ask them to go and check for references, ask for someone to phone and speak to, somebody that you've worked with before. If you guys want to come on board, well, and you want to really seriously buy investment properties in the UK, then check us out. You know, look into us, find out, come and have a talk with us. Ask us to talk to one of our coaching clients. We'll give them a ring and say, are you happy to talk to these people? Because we won't give you their phone number because that's GDPR. We can't just give it out. But we'll say, look, you know, Fred, are you all right to talk to Nikki because she's interested in learning about whether or not we're honest or whether we're a bit dodgy. I had a lady come, so I used to run a property meeting, still do when we're allowed to. I've been running it for 7 or 8 years now, maybe longer. She came to the property meetings every month for 2 years because she was checking me out. And I didn't know that. At the end of the 2 years, she said, Neil, I've got some money. Can we do something together? And I said, oh, you've been coming to the meeting for 2 years now. You didn't say anything. She goes, that's because I wanted to see if you were honest, if you were real, if you were doing what you say you were doing. And I've been asking everybody in the background about you, checking up on you. And I went, whoa, that's serious. Because that was her life savings. She didn't want to give me a life savings and then find I'm going off to Mauritius for a holiday with it, did she? She wanted to give me a life savings, and she wanted to make sure that her life savings were going to be invested in a property that's going to make her money. Okay.
Brilliant. I know Gretchen's got a couple from her side as well.
I do. I think we just have time for like maybe 1 or 2 more. I want to respect everybody's got dinner plans and that kind of stuff. One of the questions I think that really resonated for me, because it was a question that I also had when I got involved, but when you take on a mentor, or like when we join to be a mentor with you, do we get access to your team of people? Like, how do we know who's a good builder in my area? Or how do we know who to trust? Like you were saying earlier, like how do we find non-dodgy people?
We have absolutely. I mentioned to you that the lady from Sweden has got our contact numbers on WhatsApp. She WhatsApped, I think, this morning. We have been doing this for a long time. We pretty much know people in most of the areas, investment areas in the UK, and good people. So if you decided that you wanted to go to Glasgow to invest, Heather's got a power team up there that you can tap into. If you want to go to Wales, I've got a power team you can tap into. If you want to go to Wiltshire, I've got a power team you can tap into. If you want to go to Yorkshire, Heather and I have students that we've taught that are working in those areas that we will put you in touch with. We are going to share everything with you that you need. We don't hold back.
That's awesome. And this is kind of a question. Nobody submitted this, but I feel like it's kind of everyone's asking this kind of below the surface a little bit. With the lockdown starting to happen again and the restrictions that we have as far as like being able to actually go see property or, you know, to meet people in person, why even start now? Like, isn't it better to maybe sit on my hands and find out what happens in 6 months?
Oh my God. Oh my God, Gretchen. Oh my God. Gretchen, now is the time to buy, right now, okay? I have bought something already last week. People are going to be moving our houses. They're going to be selling. I told you earlier that Michelle told us about the 10 that the council are buying. People are going to be looking for houses, moving out because they can't afford to stay there anymore. They're going to be coming on the market. We are going to see a real great time to buy it. And where everybody else is frightened and they're scared and they're sitting and watching and think, oh, what's going to happen? We'll sit back and wait and see what happens with COVID. We'll sit back and see if we can actually go out and have a party at Christmas. That's when the money is really made, and that's when the investors really get going. Isn't that right, Heather?
Exactly, because that happened to me in 2008. When we had the financial crash in 2008, my lawyer says, Heather, your letting agency is going to boom. And he never said a true word. And the exact same now, the demand for properties is sky high. The rental markets is very high as well, but the mortgages are very low. So how can a landlord go wrong?
You can't. Even a property that I saw this week that looked like it wasn't really gonna be a deal for me. It was kind of not quite gonna make enough money for me to get involved. I sat there and something came up, something happened, something came into my mind. I don't know what you call it. And, you know, because I've done so many creative structures and deals, I just thought that'll work. And I've now created a situation where over 5 years on this property, I'm going to get £20,000 profit in rental income. And then when I sell it, it's a tenant buy situation, I'm going to get another £20,000. That's £40,000 in 5 years. Tell me where you can get that. Sorry.
Do it once and repeat. That's all it is. Repeat the recipe.
It is. And it's just strategies Heather and I have done over and over and over and over again. So much creative stuff. I love this stuff. I love it because when you sit there and everybody else looks at that deal and goes, nah, it's not a deal. Don't think we can do anything about it. It might not be. It might genuinely, like the one that we saw this morning from the sourcing agent, and it might just be that it isn't a deal. But actually, when you've got this feeling that maybe there's something we can do here, you can then start going off and say, well, what if I do this? What if I do that? And try all these different scenarios to make a deal. That deal I bought, or I'm buying, for the tenant to live in, who's going to pay me to live there until she can afford to buy it, is going to make me £40,000 in 5 years, over the 5 year period.
Boom.
That's incredible. So if I'm watching right now and I want to know more information about how I can find your power team, how can I get mentored by you? How can I become a bajillionaire in the next 6 months using property? Maybe not that, but what do they need to do next?
Bajillionaire in 6 months now. That's making us work hard. Okay, so what do you do next? There is an opportunity for you to go on and book a one-to-one with myself or Heather on a Zoom call, and we can talk some more about your circumstances. I think we've got kind of half-an-hour slots that you guys can pop into if you want over the next few weeks, and just come and have a chat with us, see if there's something you want to do. I mentioned about our programs. We've got a 6-month program, which will be 6 months of one-to-one, or you and your business partner, your bed partner, as I called it before. The two of you can come on board with us one-to-one for 6 months, and we will get you those properties you want. That package is our kind of most popular and most successful package, and that's £5,000. But you don't have to pay it all up front. We can do a payment plan with you if you want. But we will get you that £5,000 back in that 6 months easily. And that's our promise to you.
Yes. I second that one.
That's incredible. Well, I want to say on behalf of ICANN Training, thank you everybody for coming and for all of your tons of questions. And if yours didn't get answered here in this session, don't hesitate to go. It's icanntraining.co.uk/contact-us. It'll be in the footer of this video. It'll be in the comment section. The times are booking fast, and just like Neil and Heather said, like, this is a tremendous opportunity right now. We don't know how long it will last. We don't know how many you're going to be able to do, but it's a greater opportunity than it was a year ago, that's for sure. And we don't know how long it will be around for, so don't wait. Don't sit on this.
Yeah, don't sit on it. Like, I'm not going to sit down and wait to go and get my glass of Pinot Noir, okay?
Take action.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for spending your time with us.
Bye.